So welcome to this morning's graduation in the magnificent Barony Hall, which is a jewel in the crown of the Strathclyde estate. In a short moment, I will be inviting our students, our graduands, to cross the stage, and in front of this kneeler, I will cap them and confer their degrees, making them graduates of the university. This is an ancient tradition which goes back to the Scottish Enlightenment, as Strathclyde was one of the, I think it was the only institution formed during that period, and we're marking our students' graduation in this way. Today we also have a special treat that we have an honorary graduate today, Maureen Robinson, and you'll hear more about her career and her successes in a short while. I will shortly invite our Vice Dean Academic for the Faculty of Science, Professor Deborah Willison, to read out the names for our science students, and Dr. Kepa Mendabil to read out the students for the Faculty of Engineering. This is a joyous occasion, so enjoy yourselves. We may be dressed up in fancy gowns and robes, but we're all here to enjoy ourselves. So smile, be happy, make a noise when you see someone coming up on stage that you know. Don't be afraid to shout out and show your support for them. It's all meant to be a lot of fun here. So please do enjoy yourselves. With that, I will declare this ceremony open, and I will now invite the University Secretary, Dr. Stuart Fancy, to introduce our honorary graduate.
Executive Dean, I have the honour to present to you Maureen Robinson. Maureen Robinson was educated here at the University of Strathclyde, where she began studying pharmacy. After her time at Strathclyde, her working life immediately took a somewhat different turn, but perhaps as I tell you more, you may judge whether or not that turn was quite as different as it initially sounds. Our graduands here waiting to receive their degrees in chemistry today, or those who received their degrees in pharmacy yesterday, might be interested in the alternative path that Maureen's understanding of molecules and the human body and our senses took her down. You see, Maureen has made a lifelong contribution to Scotland's single most recognisable and arguably most important export industry, whisky. To be considered as a major figure, as Maureen is, in an industry which exports £6 billion of product a year, makes clear the contribution to the Scottish and UK economy that Maureen Robinson has made. After leaving Strathclyde in 1977, Maureen began her working life in the Distillers Company's Glenaukle Research Station in Clackmannanshire. Now, the Distillers Company later became Diageo, which I am sure you have heard. A company that Maureen remained associated with for 45 years. Now, whisky fans in the audience, and there may be a couple, will know Diageo for its famous brands such as Lagavulin, Talisker, many, many more. Now, it was in those early days at the research lab that Maureen's exceptional sense of smell was discovered. In fact, discovered might be the wrong word. Uncovered, perhaps, might be another way of putting it. But what that sense of smell did was mark her out as a potential whisky blender. So Maureen spent 9 years developing her nosing ability, her tasting ability, and created her own language to describe what she was able to sense when nosing whiskies. Maureen's exceptional skill as a blender and her hard work led her to be appointed Master Blender at Diageo in 1986. Now, to be appointed to such a role was remarkable, absolutely remarkable, and remarkable slightly for a regrettable reason, which is that Maureen was the first female Master Blender of the modern era. It had been a male-dominated role. And Maureen, therefore, chose to blaze a trail for other talented women to follow in the whisky industry, which they have, turning a male-dominated industry of the 1970s into one that is much more diverse today in both leadership and workforce. Maureen's contribution to the industry that she loves and has done so much herself to develop has been recognised. In 2012, Maureen was chosen to join the Keepers of the Quaich, an international society founded to recognise, to reward and celebrate those who've shown outstanding commitment to the Scotch whisky industry. Now, it is possible that in the audience there are one or two people for whom the word quaich is not familiar. It's a shallow drinking vessel, a Scots word for a special kind of cup, often used today ceremonially for drinking whisky, hence the keepers of the quaich. Maureen was inducted into the Whisky Magazine Hall of Fame in 2019, and in a remarkable honour given to only about 150 people in the world at the moment, Maureen has been chosen to become a Master of the Quaich in 2022, the greatest recognition that the whisky industry globally can offer. 2022 also marked Maureen's retirement from the Scotch whisky industry, and she, at that point, was photographed often in the press, passing on her blending notes, her archive of knowledge from her own career at Diageo to the next generation of blenders. Now, Maureen's intention might have been to play golf, and I understand that she is, whenever the weather allows, doing that. It might have been to spend more time with her family, who we're delighted to welcome here today with us, and she is doing that. But she's also right back out of retirement pretty much immediately to take her useful learning, her industry-changing skills to a new market. So Maureen is now working with 2 American bourbon brands, helping that relatively young industry across the water benefit from our older, richer, some might say better, some might not, whisky culture. That whisky culture that Maureen has been at the heart of for nearly half a century. Maureen Robinson's career continues to be dedicated to the science of whisky production, taking the scientific understanding that Strathclyde taught her and magnifying it with her own remarkable skills in the subtle comprehension of complex chemicals through smell and taste, and bringing all of that science together with her devotion to creating a unique product. A unique product that in 2022 accounted for 77% of Scottish food and drink exports, 25% of all UK food and drink exports, and 26% of all of Scotland's international goods exports. Maureen Robinson can be said, without exaggeration, to have made a major contribution to the success of the Scotch whisky industry in its recent past. Maureen's blending legacy and example to other women at the top of this key industry has certainly made a major contribution to its future. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Executive Dean, that with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Maureen Robinson the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
I create you Doctor of Science honoris causa. Congratulations.
You might not see me very well over this lectern as I'm so small, but never mind. Hopefully you can all hear me. It's a great honour to be here today, and I would like to thank the Executive Dean and the University of Strathclyde for this prestigious award. I would also like to thank the people who put me forward for this award. It is very much appreciated. People often ask me, how did I get into the career I eventually followed? And I say, by accident. As you've already mentioned, I first started my career at this very university many, many years ago as a pharmacist, long before many of you have been born. It's been nearly 50 years since I first walked through the doors of this university, and I must admit my memory is not what it used to be, but I do have a couple of anecdotes I remember. Within the Students' Union building, and this was the old Students' Union, there was what was like a coffee shop in the mezzanine floor. And we used to call it the Mez, which my friends and I frequented a lot. But by the time we moved into our second year, the coffee shop had moved up to the canteen in a corner there, and the old Mez was a snooker hall. It just didn't have the same atmosphere as before, as it did before, but we started to take our studies a lot more seriously. One other thing I recollect is that one of my friends heard us talk about one of my lecturers' teaching style and the fun he introduced into the topic. And she liked it that much that she actually came to our lectures, even though it was nothing to do with her actual course. Unlike you today, I did not finish my pharmacy degree, but decided instead to follow a career in science in the Scotch whisky industry and studied for an HNC in chemistry. The company I joined was Distillers Company Limited, now known as Diageo, where I worked in the laboratories for 9 years before becoming a master blender for 36 years. During those 9 years, I developed an understanding of the intricacies of science of Scotch making, from distilling to blending, and from the different aromas and flavours you can achieve with the tools you have available, such as individual distilleries, age, and the maturation wood. What is a master blender? A master blender has many roles, but the one that inspired me the most was innovation. This is where we got to create and develop new Scotch whisky products, which I found exciting and rewarding. Seeing on the shelf what you had developed gave you a sense of achievement, and it was even more notable if your signature was on the bottle. One of the things I found most interesting was the opportunity to travel the world, whether it be for market research or for product launches. This allowed me to get a better understanding of the various cultures and their preferences for future reference. And I had the good fortune to visit countries such as Mexico, United States, Japan, China. One of the things I was often asked was, do I think myself as an artist or a scientist? And I always replied, an artist, but you need the science to become that artist. During my time at Diageo, I was responsible for many things, but there are a couple I'm most proud of. Being the first female master blender in the modern era, that's an opening the pathway for others to follow my footsteps, especially in an industry where certain roles were very male-dominated. I was also instrumental in creating and developing a Scotch whisky character classification language specific for Diageo, which is still in use today. In fact, my first introduction to organoleptic categorisation was when I worked in the labs. Historically, distilleries, I'm not too sure if people would probably know this, historically distilleries were classed into regions like Speyside, Highlands, Islay, and etc. But over years it became apparent that from an organic leptic perspective there was more to it. When I first became a blender, I was asked if I could change this regional classification, which I did, but it's still not wholly organoleptic attributes. It was more along the lines of interchangeable distilleries based on characters of blending purposes. It was not until the early 2000s I was involved with others to develop a classification based on organoleptic descriptors, which to us made more relevant for a blending perspective than regions, and that is what we use today. This involved nosing hundreds of samples from different distilleries and different ages. It resulted in 6 category headers based on aroma, for example, meaty and fruity. But underneath that, we actually had, like meaty, you'd maybe have things like, you make descriptions like Bovril and oxo cubes and things like that. A lot of my descriptors are actually relate to food, because I do like my food. And the other one, fruity, that also include, and people in the science area will understand that because fruity was like estery fruitiness, fresh fruits, stewed fruits and things like that. So even though we had headers, they are actually, there's lots underneath that. During my 45 years, I received several awards for my achievement that meant a lot to me. And it's already been mentioned, being inducted as a Keeper and Master of Quay, the exclusive international society which recognises those who have shown outstanding commitment to the Scotch whisky industry. Being one of the few who has entered the Whisky Hall of Fame. And that was a total surprise to me. I was at a luncheon, and the next thing, somebody started talking about what it was, and I'm sitting going, that sounds like me. And it was just totally surprise to me. And of course, today's recognition is something I could never have dreamed of, and I really appreciate this today. I did retire in June 2022 from the Scotch whisky industry, but only lasted 6 months. I have now embarked on a new career, transferring my skills to a different type of whisky with an E. This will be a challenge for me, but I'm looking forward to it. Today you're graduating in your specialised fields, At some point in years to come, you might need to want to make that career change, but you should embrace it and not be scared to take that leap. I did. I made the decision, and I don't think I would have achieved the recognition I have today if I hadn't made that initial leap. When I first started in the Scotch whisky industry as a scientist, I never dreamed that I would become passionate about it. I still get a buzz out of Googling my name and seeing all the various articles and courses, of course, the many things I have achieved. First female master blender, keeper of the Master Craig, member of the Whisky Hall of Fame, and of course now an honorary doctorate. In fact, I am embarking on my new career leap, so watch this space, and hopefully I will get more mentions in Google. I wish you all luck in whatever career path you take and enjoy today, as you've all worked hard to get to this stage in your life. I have one last thing to say, and that is to my family and friends who are here today. Thank you for all your support, and you have given me over the years. Thank you.
Executive Dean, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, James Luke Dalby. Samantha Offaly. For research in the Department of Pure and Applied Chemistry, Richard Andrew Blackall. Andrew Callender. Kai Yan Karina Chan. Robert Cordina. Daniel Fowles. Catherine Ellen Gilbert. Heather Frances Gray. Ross Peter Richanek. Connor Scott Livingston. Samantha McCabe. Francesco Rian Young Day. Alexander James Stewart. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with Integrated Study in Pure and Applied Chemistry, Rona Muir. Sam Walker. For the degree of Master of Science in Actuarial Science, Oliver Stewart Grieve. Ellen Hamilton. In Applied Statistics, Andrew Boyd. Anissa Rui. In Applied Statistics and Finance, Darshini. Usama Hadri. Haider Khan. In Applied Statistics and Health Sciences, Abdul Aziz Suleiman Saif Al Dahali. Ifuanya Cheninye Azubuki. Puspita Rani Dar. William John Late. Kazi Imama Nasri. Tolulope Adede Wura Osunjolu. Andrew Scott. Mabel Thankachan Monakin. In Quantitative Finance, Farhan Bamgara. Dimitrios Kionis. Morgan Corporal. Andrew Duthie. Ryan Hussain. Shreyank Jaiswal. Fatafal Lert Comfy Singh. Karan Mukesh Savla. Setanan Tanrata Napitak. Sevitri Tongingen. Chan No Kanwi. In Forensic Science, Carla Alonso Ofrio. Emma Lee Campbell. Kyle Robert Carlin. Parva Vinayak Chavan. Melissa Anne-Marie Cochran. Natalie Jean Cornwall. Ya Di. Divyasri Dinesh. Natalie Angelita Eatwell. Jonathan England. Alexandra Irish Fisher. Cristina Garcia Pineda. Clarissa Giordano. Bethany Jane Ibbotson. Judith Jacobs. Matthew Robert George Kerr. Anna Susan Cosbor. Erin Teresa Rose Lang. Hio Man Leong. Thurga Manivannan. Elliot Matu. Valerie Olivia Mayer. Catherine Esther McDade. Jonas Jose Juhani Mikel Barbadillo. Ailey Grace Morrison. Alessia Muro. Arfaxad Nguka Awangi. Maria Fernandez Paez. Noelle Grace Pepper. Hazal Polat. Joana Filipa Portugal da Roca Terreiro. Odelia Julia Rebello. Amy Robertson. Amina Sternkopf. Tae Wei Ying. Brayton Taylor Thompson. Mitchell Ronan Thurtle. Tyler Storm Verster. Ashna Wadwani. Shiwan Tiffany Wong. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry with Drug Discovery, Rachel Jane Beresford. Hannah Julie Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics, Ewan Alexander Balfour. In Mathematics, William Baker. Joseph Aidan Davis. In Mathematics and Statistics, Niamh Rosina Murray. In Mathematics, Statistics and Finance, Thomas John Shearer Jarvie. Kes Ali Sejadi. In Forensic and Analytical Chemistry, Tamina Ghazal.
Executive Dean, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For a degree of Master of Science in Advanced Construction Technologies and Building Information Management, Emmanuel Tadesi Belai. Samantha Ambekar Bilagi Sampagot. Sushil Shiprasad Daima. di sana yake mujidan selage nalika tarangi di sana yake. Precious Idogama Edokpolu. Ali Hamza. Mukul Narajro Haktwa. Akshay Bhagwan Jadaf. Shuvan Rajendra Kudale. Dev Rasik Mistry. Colin Peter Morrison. Ishwari Nitin Patil. Sandeep Balasahib Patil. Shivan Rajendra Padatari. Karen Judith Trudeau. Santosh Rajashekar. Divanshu Dewanand Ramekar. Vignes Ramesh. Daphne Reginald. Mansi Rocadilla. Mohammed Wasim Salim. In architectural design for the conservation of built heritage, Ankita Karotkar. Furkan Kagatai Kainer. Murun Alice Porter. Maham Sultan. In sustainable engineering, architecture and ecology, Nikola Vielowska. Benkata Sai Sahiti Mutevi. Patrick Martin O'Neill. In urban design, Bagmita Acharya. Anushri. Shruti Pradeep Bhagwat. Anil Prince Ganamani. Rajat Khalil Halawani. Alex Lorenzen. Isabel Panther. Joseph Paul Tatratil Ponmani. Rohan Sharma. Ailey Rose Smith. Cezin Juxel. For the degree of Master of Architecture in Advanced Architectural Design, Shivan Ravesh Kumar Amin. Siti Amina Binti Ibrahim. Asma Bawali. Catherine Jean Campbell. Lucas Chalupa. Xavier Nicholas Chen. Wei Man Choi. Luke Corbin. Patrick Cox. Jennifer Curry. Grace Elizabeth Davidson. Agatha Swam de Witte. Kieran Gallagher. Josh Hale. Nur Eluda Halas. Achyut Krishna Kumar. Lisa Jing Ying Lei. Ying Hei Hilary Lei. Li Kai Shing. Lim Victor. Paulina Victoria Matushik. Martin MacDonald. Emma McMaster. Ria Sagar Muta. Manali Nilawar. Shin Chi Nip. William Nixon. Aliki Paraskevido. Eduardo Pilati. Anna Maria Povoshniak. Sarah Adele Remali. Amy Zoe Robertson. Amina Joseph Sanga. Maiken Stromhen Skårstad. Auguste Stagnate. Tan Jess Lin. Cara Fletcher Tom. Charles Ian Tully. Oscar Warren. Fiona Beatrice McKinnon Wiley. Siti Aina Nurina Binti Sulkifle. In Architectural Design International, Mayur Jaiprakash Kale. Mukul Sudam Pawar. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies, Jianru Zhen. Olivia Antikainen. Angus MacDonald. Erika Shaw. Marta Banis. Ilya Nosovs. Freya Media Lenin. For the degree of postgraduate diploma in advanced architectural design, Derek Munro Milne. Saifur Rehman Salim. Rebecca Jane Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies, Konrad Piotr Kologi. For the degree of Master of Architecture in Advanced Architectural Design, Yuen Hill.
So a few of you found your voices there, that's for sure. So let's warm the voices up one more time and let's hear it for the class of 2023. Okay, this is my third ceremony this week, and that's definitely the loudest and the best, so well done to all of you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the university and what we've been doing, some of the activities from the department. So part one should last about 2.5 hours, and we'll stop for a short break, and then we'll move on to part two. No, seriously, I've got a few words to say, and then we'll have a procession from here out of the hall with the academic colleagues, with the new graduates, up to the Teaching and Learning building, where we'll have a reception where we can all gather together and have some conversation and some engagements. But first of all, I'd like to extend another warm welcome to you all on this very special day, which marks the culmination of several years of hard work and dedication for our new graduates. And all of our graduates here today have shown great resilience, adaptability and determination to arrive at this day, particularly given the challenges we've all faced over recent years. So for those of you graduating in the presence of your loved ones, this is a moment of great pride. Your family, friends and supporters have undoubtedly played a crucial role in your journey. So graduates, let's take a moment to acknowledge and applaud your supporters for all they've done for you. Likewise, our dedicated staff sitting here resplendent in their various colours. We're not filming the next Harry Potter movie, I can assure you, despite some of the looks in here. But they have worked tirelessly and they're very committed to ensuring a very exceptional student experience for all of the graduates today. So graduates, let's take a moment to show appreciation for our staff. Okay, so we know who the favourites are in that competition out of 3, don't we? I think the new graduates win hands down. So, as I said, we're going to have an academic procession after this ceremony. That will then signify that our graduates are now members of the Strathclyde academic community, which numbers over 196,000 graduates worldwide. As esteemed members of this community, you join a long line of distinguished alumni such as David Livingstone, John Logie Baird, Dame Ailish Angelini, Helen Liddell and Sir Tom Hunter. Strathclyde was formed in 1796 during the Scottish Enlightenment through the bequest of Professor John Anderson, who, believing in knowledge for all for the greater good, wished to establish a place of useful learning. And we've remained faithful to this founding principle, which continues to guide us today as we strive to make a positive impact on society and the world. We're a research-intensive institution committed to creating new knowledge and understanding to tackle the challenges of our times. Through our groundbreaking research, we're contributing to a better world. And that's not just a self-promoting claim that we make ourselves. In the recent Research Excellence Framework 2021, which is the UK government's system for assessing research quality, almost 90% of Strathclyde's research was assessed as world-leading or internationally excellent. Strathclyde also had the second highest impact quality profile in Scotland, demonstrating the effect our research has on everyday lives in the real world. Our research and our impact is wide-ranging. Our scientists and researchers are leading the development of innovative technologies that will facilitate the transition from fossil fuels to the clean, sustainable energy sources, such as wind, solar and hydrogen, that will power our future world and tackle climate change. We're developing new drugs using new digital manufacturing processes that will provide cheaper, more effective treatments in the fight against cancer, kidney diseases and inflammatory diseases, while also helping our health services evolve to face the challenges of health and social care in the changing demographics of the 21st century. Through our focus on entrepreneurial education, Strathclyde Inspire, we're helping students and staff to create businesses with sustainability in mind, which are creating jobs and support economic growth. In a recent article, Strathclyde was noted as having the 4th highest value of spin-out activity in the UK, behind Oxford, Cambridge and Edinburgh, showing the level of activity within our institution. We're leading the revitalisation of this part of the city through the Glasgow City Innovation District, which is bringing companies both large and small to work together with the university to create new ideas, technologies and solutions to a range of problems across key research clusters such as health tech, fintech, 5G communications, industrial informatics and space and quantum technologies. And much of this work is being based within our Technology and Innovation Centre down on George Street. In the near future, we will be building another innovation centre named in honour of one of our most successful alumni, businessman Dr. Charles Wang, who donated £50 million to Strathclyde, an extremely generous gift and our largest ever, given in recognition of the role this university had in his success. We're growing Scotland's manufacturing capabilities as part of the 4th Industrial Revolution, Industry 4.0, which will see digitalisation, automation and artificial intelligence transform the sector and provide huge economic and employment opportunities. And much of this work is taking place in the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation District, Scotland, near Glasgow Airport, where the National Manufacturing Institute Scotland facility was opened earlier this year and is operated by Strathclyde. This eye-catching building, which is the red sawtooth roof, which you may see when you're flying out of Glasgow Airport, sits side by side with the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre, of which Strathclyde is also a major partner. We also work to inform public policy on national economic strategy, education, productivity and workplace strategies through our various research institutes. Through our Centre for Sustainable Development, our globally minded staff and students are working, co-creating solutions with our global partners across academia, civil society and the public and private sectors to secure real-world impact and to tackle the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In pursuing our vision, we understand the value of successfully working in partnership with business, government and the third sector to make a difference. And we extend our global reach through academic partnerships with the likes of Stanford, NYU, MIT, Caltech, Tsinghua, Nanyang Technological University, to name but a few. As a university, we are continually working to enhance our student experience, investing in our campus and student experience as evidenced by our new Strathclyde Sport and our learning and teaching buildings, and investing in health and wellbeing services, always putting our students at the heart of everything we do. Our progress and efforts in all of these areas have been greatly recognised in recent years with a host of awards. In 2019, we became the only university to win the Times Higher Education UK University of the Year twice, having first won in 2012. We've also been named Business School of the Year, Workplace of the Year and Research Project of the Year in recent times. And earlier this year, Strathclyde was named Scottish University of the Year 2024 and runner-up as UK University of the Year in the inaugural Daily Mail University League tables. Alistair McCall, who compiled the rankings and who previously was responsible for the Sunday Times Good University Guide and League tables, described Strathclyde as the epitome of a progressive 21st century university, seeking to shape and change society for the better through the pursuit of educational excellence and social change, and still a place of useful learning, just as it set out to be more than 200 years ago. Furthermore, in June, Strathclyde was named European Entrepreneurial University of the Year at the Triple E Awards. And these awards reflect the quality and breadth of activities in our university across all the faculties. And now just to draw out some specific highlights from the departments which are represented today. Professor Chris Robertson from Mathematics and Statistics was named with his colleagues in the EVE 2 Long COVID project, joint winner of the Royal Statistical Society's Florence Nightingale Award for Healthcare Data Analytics. The team, led at the University of Edinburgh's Usher Institute, conducted preprint work which was submitted to the Long COVID inquiry by the Scottish Parliament's COVID-19 Recovery Committee. Professor Robertson presented results as evidence to the committee. Professor Robertson's on stage today. A total of 36 new studentships are to be created through the extension of a collaborative PhD programme between the University of Strathclyde and pharmaceutical company GSK. The award-winning programme, which has now been running since 2009, has been extended for a further 3 years of studentship starts, with the overall programme now due to run until 2030. Professor Apala Majumdar was named as the recipient of the Frederick Wilhelm Bessel Research Award from the Humboldt Foundation. The award recognised her research in the mathematics of liquid crystals and partial differential equations. And Professor Karen Falls, the university's head of bionanotechnology and analytical chemistry, was named in the Power List compiled by the Analytical Scientist magazine for the 4th time in 5 years, with the list featuring 100 scientists nominated and assessed for their excellence and impact over the last decade. A community-owned library opened in Strathblane has been named after Thomas Graham, Professor of Chemistry at Anderson's Institution and a forerunner of Strathclyde. And Strathclyde architects and engineers completed the rebuilding of a school in Nepal, which was damaged by an earthquake and flooding in 2017. One of the school's teaching blocks had been completely destroyed and the remaining building was left unsafe, with a leaking roof in every classroom. The toilet block too was damaged and suffered from flooding every monsoon. Building standards are failing to ensure offices, shops, public buildings and homes provide healthy ventilation, say leading experts in a report on air pollution by England's Chief Medical Officer. The panel of scientists and engineers, including Professor Tim Sharp, head of Strathclyde's Department of Architecture, described a system where buildings were complying with the standards at the design phase, but there was limited scrutiny to see if those standards were being met as the buildings went up, or when in use or adapted over time. So these are just a small set of examples showing the wide-ranging activity and successes from our university from these 3 departments in the last year. And it's on these past achievements that we build our future. Today is the day to look forward to the beginning of a new chapter in your lives where you will take the knowledge and skills you've acquired during your time here to pursue and realise your aspirations. And as you forge your new careers, the university's values of being ambitious, bold, innovative, collaborative and people-orientated will stand you in good stead. In recent years, the world has been shaken by the coronavirus pandemic, while the cost of living crisis, an armed conflict, not least of all the war taking place on our own continent, and the recent situation in the Middle East continue to create uncertainties. And of course, we must tackle our biggest challenge of all, the climate emergency. These challenges demand solutions. And as graduates of Strathclyde and the future leaders of our society, you have a responsibility to use your talents and your education to make a positive impact on the world. Whether you go on to pursue careers in business, science, engineering, politics, or any field, remember you have the power to effect change, to inspire others, and to shape the course of history. But with great power comes great responsibility, and I urge you never to lose sight of the values that have guided you thus far: integrity, humility, and empathy. These are qualities that will set you apart as you navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. And as you step out into the world, you carry with you the knowledge and skills that you've acquired during your time at this esteemed institution. And more than that, though, you carry the spirit of Strathclyde, a spirit of innovation, collaboration, and excellence. You go out into the world equipped with that most valuable asset, knowledge. The Strathclyde degree that you now hold in your hands is your passport to success as you rise to meet the challenges ahead. And as you embark on this new chapter of your lives, I encourage you to continue learning, to embrace new challenges. Remember that the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey and that success is not measured by what you achieve, but by the impact you make on the world around you. So it's with immense pride that we see you graduate today, and though you may be leaving us, we hope you'll continue to stay in touch. Let us know how you get on and continue to contribute to Strathclyde. So in conclusion, I'd like to congratulate you once again on this momentous achievement. The university has equipped you with tools that you need to thrive in the years ahead, and I have no doubt that you will make us proud. So go forth with confidence, with purpose, and with the knowledge that you are capable of great things. So I'm guessing by the fact that the sun is streaming through the doors that we're good to go for a procession. So in a second, I will ask you all to be upstanding and the academic crew will process out, followed by the graduates, and we'll all walk up to the Teaching and Learning Building. So now, it's with great pleasure I declare this ceremony closed and we'll go for our academic procession.